Hey, this is Trueflight. We're back in Star Trek Online. This time we're looking at one of my Klingon characters in my fleet. This is Barak. He was actually my first Klingon character made way back when you actually had to have a level 25 Fed character to even make a Klingon. And sadly, he's really neglected. But we're going to take a look at him anyway. He's in this gigantic ship. You really can't get a judge for how big this thing is until you see it up against another ship there. There's a Federation cruiser, I think. That's a big Federation ship, too, to really give you a size. This thing fires off and launches four bird of preys to defend it. It is a carrier. Most people hate carriers because the pet system is extremely broken in this game, but I kind of like it. As for the ship itself, it's kind of geared terribly because I'm way behind the curve on arming this thing. And just starting, I think it's got anti-proton on there right now. Eventually it's going to be full plasma loadout, but I just haven't gotten that far yet. So right now we have two radiant anti-proton beams in the front. They're just what I've managed to pick up. Decent weapon, nothing spectacular about them though. The particle emission plasma torpedo, or PEP torpedo as they're called, amazing weapon, especially when combined with science abilities like gravity well, and we'll get to that a bit later. But on the back right now we've got a kinetic cutting beam, which is pretty much standard. I love the things. Don't need it as much on this ship because we are running torpedoes, but it's an amazing weapon, does a lot of damage, and 360-degree arc is nice. Actually, I have an omnidirectional beam array. This one's a anti-proton because that's what the rest of our loadout is. Again, it's a 360-degree arc beam. Can't go wrong there. That's going to be getting replaced with a plasma beam. And then we have a anti-proton turret, which again is going to get replaced with probably a plasma turret because I don't think you can have more than one of the beams. So have to make do with that. For our hangar bay on this, we've actually got the, I think these are purple, yeah, we've got the Biroth bird of preys. These I like personally because they are so durable. They put out a ton of damage, and they don't die like the others, so they actually build up. Once you get that 5-star rating built up on them, they do some serious damage. And I do have like Orion Slavers, I think, and there's another one that I cycle in every now and then for fun. They do less damage. The one actually flies out their raiders or something like that. They actually fly out and steal stuff. You can get like contraband and things from them, which is kind of cool. But I don't keep them equipped all the time. They're in my bank right now. I don't even have them on there. For right now, we are running two... Oh, that shows you how much I've been paying attention. This ship has Polaron damage boosters on there, and it's running anti-proton weapons. I do have plasma ones in the bank, which are supposed to get cycled on here, but again, like I said, this ship is equipped like crap. So I might as well take those off because I don't do anything with what we got equipped right now anyway. That way I remember to replace them later. Got a couple things to boost up our shield capacity. This is actually a really nice console. It boosts up our exotic particle, which I hope, I have not found anything that proves or denies yet, but think that boosts plasma damage. So if exotic damage does boost plasma damage, we're going to be doing a lot of interesting things with that on this ship to complement the PEP torpedoes and the plasma banks when I get them all equipped. It also gives us some bonus to kinetic damage resistance and so on, which is nice. 0-point energy conduit gives us defense against drain, gives us a crit bonus and power to our systems. Not a great one. It's one that I've had on there for a long time, and it's going to get cycled out as soon as I start playing this ship some more and putting some more into it. Then we have our universal regenerative integrity field, which is a really cool massive hull heal. It also transfers damage that you do into healing for yourself. Really nice console. I'm not even sure where I got that. I think it came from a mission reward at one point, but I have it on a Fed character and on a Klingon character, so I'm not sure where that one came from, but I do like it. Then we have our Trillium deplating. If you got the room for it, this one comes from one of the episode missions, and it's a really nice defense bonus, hull capacity, shield capacity, transfers shield energy to auxiliary energy to shield, which is nice. Makes you immune to the Delphic Expanse radiation, and it also gives you a decent resistance bonus to kinetic damage and energy weapons. So all around a nice one if you got the slot for it. Next we have our Universal Assimilated Module. This is the one that boosts up the cutting beam. Pretty much a must-have if you're running the cutting beam. The two of them together are amazing. And a universal repair platform. There again, you can see how long it's been since I've equipped this guy. He's still not even running a plasmonic leech, which will probably replace the 0-point module. Back when I built this ship, I think they were going for 80, 90 million. Now they're down to like 7. So, well worth having. This repair platform, though, is really nice. It drops a little satellite down that launches these two little... it says it creates a one level 61 repair platform. Well, the platform launches two little drones that follow you around and repair other ships that get close to the platform. So, kind of a neat thing. And up here we got a variety of satellites. These I actually do use on this ship because of its limited turn rate. I can drop these down. They all have a 360-degree arc. And do a little extra damage. Extra damage is always nice. Between them and the fighters, you can do quite a bit. Occasionally I have the Scorpion fighters that you can pick up from the Vault event on here as well. That gives me a squadron of 3 fighters on top of my 4 frigates. Very nice. The Subspace Field Modulator, honestly, I don't use anymore. Gives you a bonus to defense for a little bit at the cost of making you more susceptible to proton damage. So as long as you're not fighting anything using proton weapons, it's okay. It's just something I tend to forget I even have and never use. And then of course over here you can tell we don't have the option for the stats because this is the old tier 5 version of the ship. It doesn't even have an option to upgrade it to a T5U, which I think the fleet version might. I really hope that they come out with a T6 version of the ship eventually because I do like the class, I do like the carrier. Not big on some of the other carriers out there. This one's kind of grown on me, but I am going to upgrade this to the fleet version as soon as I get a chance and I get it back around to playing my Klingon characters so that I give us an extra console slot. I believe it's a science slot. Not positive on that, but it changes the bridge officer slots and things as well. For skills, this one went kind of an opposite way of my other ships being more defensive than offensive. This is really a support ship. It's made to debuff things, it's made to heal your allies, it's made to repair people, it's made to support your other ships in your fleet. Did go full science though, because again, that probability manipulation is a must-have, I think. And then you can see we've gone a lot more engineer heavy. Boosting our hull restoration, hull capacity, and things like that, really boosting up our defenses. And getting these down here, these are kind of an interesting one. If you can afford the points and you have extras to get them, the engineering readiness lets you basically get your engineering abilities back online quicker, which means we can get our transfer shield powers, we can get our hull repairs, we can get our reverse hull polarity, or shield polarity. We can get those back online quicker to use them more often. Same with the science ones. Lets us get our gravity wells back up quicker, our hazard emitters, so we can heal our opponents and get rid of things like plasma fires and things like that. Very nice to have those on there. And again, there's a tactical one over here as well. It does the same thing for tactical abilities. For traits, got a odd layout in this one. Elusive for the extra damage bonus. Or defense bonus, sorry. Innocuous for the minus threat, and the it's not the one we're on, but that one's in there. The shield technician for the bonus to our shield capacity, of course. Beam training is a hit or miss. I might take it off of here. Right now I'm running mostly beams. I have the 1 turret on there, but so we get a bonus to those. Grace under fire lets our miracle worker come up quicker. This character's an engineer. Miracle Worker's amazing defensibility that pretty much puts your shields and your hull back to maximum, but has a long cooldown time. This, every time you take damage, has a chance of resetting Miracle Worker. Really cool when it comes up. It can only trigger up once every minute and a half, I think it is, but it's well worth it. We have Fleet Coordinator. This is one of those I talked about in one of my other videos. It increases your damage based on the size of your team. This being a support ship, I'm generally in a squadron with other people, so I get a bonus based on how many people are on the team, which is nice. We have Bulkhead Technician, same as the other ones up here. It's a bonus to our hull, which is nice. Then we have Innocuous. This is the one that lowers our threat generation while increasing crit severity, which is nice. Next we have Operative. This one gives us a bonus to crit chance and crit severity. And then finally we have Projectile Training, which is a bonus to our torpedo damage. The torpedoes, I said I was going to talk about again, and I kind of skipped over. A really nice combo here is that the PEP torpedoes, if you're not familiar with them, when they explode, they fire a... They leave a plasma field behind. There's a chance of it anyway. And the plasma field does massive damage over time to anything in the area. So you do this with a multiple combat effect here. As you fire the torpedo spread, which fires multiple torpedoes at multiple targets. So you fire out they do a little bit less damage than usual, but you fire multiple targets, usually like 10 to 12 at a time, I think, at multiple targets. And that then all of those have the chance of leaving that plasma field behind because you're using the PEP torpedoes. So the real combo is you fire off the gravity well, which is a kind of like a mini black hole, if you're not familiar, pulls everybody towards it, kind of locks them there. While they're all grouped up, then you fire your torpedo barrage, here, torpedo spread, using the PEP torpedoes. So now they're all in one place. You're hitting all of them with multiple torpedoes, which has a chance to put out multiple of those plasma fields. They can't leave because of the gravity well, and they're all just stuck in those fields, and they do just massive damage. And this is where I really want to find out if exotic damage affects the plasma fields left by those torpedoes, because if it does, that makes the combo even more lethal. Very nasty thing to do together, though. And you combine that with the probability manipulation too, that makes all of your weapons pretty much have a almost guaranteed critical, and it just gets worse from there. For Starship traits, we have the improved critical systems, gives you a 3% crit chance bonus, 15% crit severity when using emergency power abilities. Again, on this ship, I think the only ones we have are the shields. Still kind of tweaking to see if I want to keep that one. Improved predictive algorithms comes from the temporal thing, I think. And activating any weapon enhancement ability gives you a bunch of bonuses, which is kind of cool. Next, we have emergency response, which when you're below 50% health, if you take damage, it has a chance of regenerating your hull and shield abilities, which are nice because ours can be used on other ships. And then the reactive repair nanites. It's actually really good on a carrier-based ship. This one, if my pets are within 5k of me and I heal them, a portion of that healing also goes to all my other pets that are in 5k. So you can heal all of your pets by healing one, which is really cool. For Space Rep, we have the Omega Kinetic Shearing, which makes our torpedoes and mines do an additional 40% of their damage before resistance is calculated. And it's a shield penetrating damage over time, which is kind of cool. Then we have the Energy Refrequencer. Directed energy attacks heal me for a portion of the damage that you deal. The ship doesn't really put out that much damage, but it's still nice to have something that's going to constantly regenerate you. Then we have our Omega Weapon the Omega Graviton Amplifier, which is that awesome proc that gives all of our directed energy weapons that kinetic damage proc, which is cool. Not so necessary on a ship that's running torpedoes, and I have the cutting beam on there. I already do a lot of kinetic damage, but it's a 100% shield penetration you can't argue with. And then we have the Chrono Capacitor Array, which reduces the recharge time to all your bridge officers' abilities. If you've got the open slot for that, it's kind of a must-have on pretty much anybody, because who doesn't want their bridge officer abilities to come back faster? Then our active reputation, same ones I pretty much use on all my ships. You have the refracting Tetryon Cascade, which is that beam that bounces between targets. Short range, decent amount of damage, hits multiple targets. We have our biomolecular shield generator, which puts up the sphere that anybody inside gets shield regeneration as well as a reduction to shield damage. And then the quantum singularity, which gives you that stealth ability where you can cloak but still fire, which is kind of cool. Because, of course, my only Klingon character happens to choose the only Klingon ship that doesn't cloak. And that's pretty much it for the setup on there. The duty officers I kind of skipped over. For our duty officers on here, we've got two guys to reduce our torpedo time so we can fire off those barrages faster and get those plasma fields out there, which are nice. Two guys that reduce the recharge on our hangar base. Because we're using the frigates, which are larger ships, they have a much longer cooldown time than the fighters, so having those on there lets us launch them quicker, though they do survive longer, so I may take them off in exchange for something else, because they usually last longer than the cooldown time, so they're still alive when the cooldown comes up, so I don't really need them as much. Might go with another one of these guys who has a chance to create an aftershock, which basically when you fire a gravity well has a chance of firing a second gravity well. It's always a really cool option on there. I like watching those go off. So that's pretty much everything as far as the equipment goes. I'll go out and see what kind of trouble we can get into. And that is the wrong button. There we go. And see what we can do. What do we want to fight? Everything's Borg nowadays. So all the good ones are Borg. Let's do crystalline entity. Why not? Oh, it came up already. Guess that's where we're going. Surprisingly, the ship actually maneuvers pretty well for its size, too. You really don't get a feel for how big it is until you see it next to something else, though. It is a monster of a ship. Oh, we don't care. This is not the best one to judge on. I'm not sure if the shields and things on this ship are good enough to actually take a blast from the crystalline entity, so we're going to find that out. Platform up. I'll try to get back at max range here just in case. This looks like it's going to be a disgustingly quick group, so I might have to go do something else. Here comes the shockwave. Hey, we survived it. And it's dead. That's disgusting. Didn't even get to launch my second set of fighters. I think he's already maxed out. Need grab some Iconians. Actually, we're out of Delta. Let's grab Delta. We're gonna have to go somewhere else to show off what the ship can do, because those guys were a little overpowered. That was advanced too. That's the scary part. Can't believe I'm missing my tactical consoles too. I definitely will have to fix that. Delta. I'll do a Tholian. That'll work. I hate that they transferred these over to queuing events instead of ones you could just immediately join. Enemies over there, we can go do that, I suppose. Queue up for the Tholians and see if they show up, but if we don't get enough people for that, we'll just do this. Not even sure what this is.
You're doing well for yourself.
Oh, it's that guy. Here, I thought it was an actual enemy event. What do you got? Junk. Weird that there's no enemy encounters up. There's our Tholian alert. See if we can't show off a little better in this. So yeah, it's 47-second recast on those launching my ships.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
First we throw our gravity well to get everybody grouped together, then we fire our torpedo barrage. And then we laugh at all the people stuck in the plasma fields. This ship does work more like a weapons platform. You pretty much stand stationary and fire like a turret. It doesn't have very good turning because of its size, but now, the sound these radiant weapons make reminds me of the Wraith in Stargate. You really get a feel for the size when you realize I'm scrolled out right now as far as I can go. Oh, I don't want to be in front of that. Move! Ah, that's gonna suck.
Hull integrity below.
Downside of a big ship. Come on, let me out. At least we can survive a blast from that. You can see here how horrible our turning radius is. What I was saying is I'm scrolled out as far as I can get. With most of my other ships, you can scroll out so far you can barely see the ship. A durable little guy, isn't it? But yeah, that's pretty much how things work with a carrier. At least that's the wrong one. What do we need? So we'll grab Iconian. Oh, you can't from this one. Oh, that settled that. But there you can see those pets of mine. Those are the repair drones that come off the satellite. I can actually drop the satellite so you can see it. Tiny little thing. And then the 4 fighters. And we can repair our 1 fighter here. And all the others, if they were damaged, would get repaired as well. Downside to carriers in this is that their controls and commands don't always work as they should. Call them back. They're supposed to cloak and come back and land. Half the time they disappear somewhere and you never find them again. I think they cloaked either. Oh, one of them cloaked. They're weird like that. There, now they're all cloaked, but they still didn't land. But yeah, they do tend to wander off, so a lot of people dislike carriers. I think they're fun. Occasionally. It's not something I want to fly all the time. Anyway, that is a look at the, what do they call this thing anyway? It's got a weird name. It's a Vo'Quv With, yeah, that right there. But that's a look at my Klingon carrier. And we'll get back to the other ships in the fleet in time. But until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.